Okay. Hello. Okay. So, at first, I'm talking about myself. I, Harutaka Hata, graduated from Kagoshima University in 2019. After that, I worked for National Museum in Japan for 3.5 years. Okay. And now I'm okay. So now I'm working on in Smithsonian Institution in the US until August 2024. So since I was a student, uh, I have been researching a taxonomy of Clupeiformes. The order Clupeiformes includes fishes, so-called sardines and anchovies. In Japanese, iwashi, meaning weak fish. In Malaysia, ikan bilis. Today, I want to talk about the current situation of Clupeiformes. I think all of you know these fishes are quite important for fisheries and consumed in various ways in all over the world. These photos are anchovies in markets in Philippines, gizzard shats in Okinawa fish market, and dried anchovies sold in India. I'm sorry, I don't know much about the consumption of ikan bilis in Malaysia, but in Japan, Sardinops melanstinctus, a Japanese sardine, is #1 catch amount fish species in Japan. I like this fish. This fish is used for food as sushi, sashimi, with sardine, grilled, fish balls, and so on. Moreover, raw fish, Japanese anchovy, Englerius japonica, is #6 catch amount fish in Japan. Larvae of anchovy are called as shirasu and are especially liked for sushi. This fish is important not only for food, but also as fertilizer, fishing baits, and food for aquaculture fishes. Due to its importance in the fisheries, Clupeiform fishes has been taxonomically studied since ancient days. Linnaeus, 1758, The Origin of Taxonomy, described several Clupeiform fishes, including these fishes, Clupanodon srissa and Coelia maestas. In 19th century, numerous Clupeiform species were described from various areas by many famous ichthyologists, such as Lacépède, French ichthyologist, Valencian, and Gunther, British ichthyologist. In Malaysia, an English explorer, T.E. Cantor, described two Clupeiform species from Penang in mid-19th century. One of Clupea rauta, now regarded as a junior synonym of Sardina albera, and Englerius breviceps, now regarded as Setipinna breviceps. After that, Peter Whitehead, an ichthyologist in British Museum of Natural History, researched taxonomic study of Clupeiformes in 1960s to 80s. He published the comprehensive papers in 1985 and 1988. He reviewed most nominal species previously described by many authors. Today, I would like to introduce changes of taxonomy and phylogeny of Clupeiformes after these works. Firstly, I introduce about the classification of Clupeiformes. Whitehead revealed that Clupeiformes includes two suborders, one of them upper, Denticyptioidae, being composed of only one species, Denticypus clupeoides, inhabiting in freshwater in Cameroon. This species is characterized by well-developed lateral line, and it is considered as the most primitive species of the order. This idea is also supported by many recent genetic phylogenetic studies. The other suborder, lower, Clupeiformes, includes 4 families: Chrysanthemumide, ulu herrings reaching 1 meter long, and Pristigastiridae, long fin herrings. It is also reaching 50 or more long, 50 centimeters or more long, and Engrauridae, anchovies, and Clupeidae. Whitehead's Clupeidae includes various species so-called as sardine, shad, sprats, and he divided into 5 subfamilies: Clupeinae, Peronurinae, Arosinae, Dorsomatinae, and Zusmielinae. You can see 2 subfamilies, Clupeinae and Peronurinae, including 16 and 23 genera, respectively. These 2 subfamilies are largest groups in Clupeidae. Monophyles of upper 3 families, Chrysanthemumide, Pristigastiridae, and Engrauridae, are also supported by many recent studies, but monophyly of Clupeidae is denied by many researchers. Most recent paper, Wang et al. 2022, in last year, molecular phylogenetics of the Clupeiformes based on exon capture data and a new classification of the order, showed these relationships. Families of yellow boxes are previously included in Clupeidae. Most species previously included in Clupeinae and Peronurinae. The 2 largest subfamilies were moved to lowest one, Dorsomatinae. Now, the true Clupeidae only contains 3 genera, including Clupea, type genus of Clupeiformes. However, this study does not cover a wide range of taxa, and more detailed reviewing is required. For example, the genus Etormeus, round herrings in temperate waters, is included in Clupeidae in this study, but several studies include Zusmielidae. There are still many problems with relationships of groups of Clupeiformes, and no clear conclusion has been reached. And more, I will talk about the classification of Engrauridae. I'll talk about the Engrauridae. As I said, monophyly of Engrauridae is supported by many recent studies. Whitehead et al. 1988 shows that Engrauridae comprises 2 subfamilies, Coirinae and Engraurinae. According to Whitehead, Coirinae includes only 1 genus, Coilia, rat-tailed anchovy, and other subfamily, Engraurinae, includes these 7 Indo-Pacific genera and 6 genera in New World. However, recent study, Rabo et al. Shows at least 3 genera, Thrissa, Setipinna, and Rice engraurus, previously included in Engraurinae, are now included in Coirinae. However, their study does not treat this genus, Papio engraurus, so its belonging is still unknown. Moreover, these 3 genera, Thrissa, Setipinna, Rice engraurus, has also problems. Phylogenetic tree in this study shows this. You can see species of Setipinna and like Thrissa are included in Thrissa. So, classification of these genera and species needs to be revised, and applicable names for each group also needed to be reviewed. So, I think you can see that there are many programs and revisions at various classification level, so family, subfamily, and genus. Next, I will talk about the species level taxonomy. This is my main target research area. As I said, the taxonomy of Clupeiformes was reviewed by British ichthyologist Peter Whitehead in 1980s. After that, only few taxonomic papers of sardines were published. So in 21st century, so not so many species were described. Judging from these researches, Nelson et al. 2016, Fishes of the World, showing the species numbers of each taxa, revealed that the number of Clupeiformes is about 400 species. However, Whitehead's paper also suggested extensions of several undescribed species. So he shows species A, or in some remarks, possibly a third species, so he cannot recognize. And in many other books, unidentified specimens or misidentifications, many undescribed species occurred in many books. So in this book, Myers shows the Sumi area SPB, so another new species or cryptic species are shown. So unidentified specimens are frequently occur in various fish books. So I started the species taxonomy of Clupeiformes. So still many cryptic species are in the world. And so identification methods has not been established yet. So sometimes the fish amounts of each species are still unclear. At first, I researched the genus Encrascorina. Encrascorina is a genus of small anchovies distributed in Indo-Pacific. Whitehead regarded these 5 species as variants. 2 of them, Encrascorina, davisii, and Heteroroba, especially resemble to each other. Both these 2 species are widely distributed in the Pacific and abundantly consumed as edible fish, fish bait, and food for aquaculture fish in tropical Asia, including Malaysia. I think these 2 species amount for the largest proportion of ikan beliefs. These 2 resemble to each other in sharing a long maxilla, posteriorly to reaching preopercular margin. However, differences between of these 2 is number of unbranched rays. Encrascorina davisii has 3, 1, 2, 3 unbranched rays, but Heteroroba has only 2 unbranched rays in dorsal fin and anal fins. The fin rays are hard to count, but in davisii, the first ray is so tiny. In Heteroroba, does not have tiny ray. First ray is so long. When I was a student, I examined the holotype of Encrascorina heteroroba. This holotype has 3 unbranched rays and tiny first ray, fin ray. I mean, those are an anal fin. Therefore, the applicable name for Whitehead's Encrascorina davisii is Heteroroba. The name for Whitehead's Encrascorina heteroroba is Encrascorina pseudo-heteroroba, regarded as a junior synonym of heteroroba by Whitehead. I published these changing relationships in 2016, but sometimes still elder names are used in papers. Please use these correct names. After that paper, in addition to the 5 species Whitehead confirmed, I described many new species. Encruscorina, Macrocephala, Gloria, Intermedia, Osta, Integra, and Sigma. Therefore, the genus Encruscorina has currently 11 valid species. After I graduated the Kagoshima University, I began to the taxonomic study of another genus, Stolforus. Stolforus is the most related to Encruscorina and distributed in Indo-Pacific. Whitehead confirmed 18 species and 2 species were described. Totally 20 valid species were known before I started. Likely, Encruscorina species, Stolforus species are also important for fisheries used in various ways. As a result, numerous cryptic species were found. In Clupeiformes, there were many cases where a single species was thought to be widely distributed in the Indo-Pacific, but it was confirmed that many species differentiated by region. For example, Stolforus indicus was regarded as a single species distributed widely in Indo-Pacific from eastern coast to southern Japan and French Polynesia. However, in my study shows that this species includes 7 local species. In Borneo, species previously regarded as Stolforus indicus is now Stolforus barinensis. Please use this name. But in Indian Ocean coast, such as Penang, the true Stolforus indicus occurs. These 7 species differ each other both morphologically and genetically. And Gilreka counts are major diagnostic characters for identification of these species. In morphological aspect, Gilreka counts are major characters. Gilreka is stick-like bony organs in fish gill and filtering planktons they're feeding on. Counts of gillrakers are important for identify these species, and gillraker numbers of each 7 species are here. You can see, so Southeast Asia species 35 to 40. Indian continental species has 36 to 40. Polynesia species has 44 to 48. Mauritius species have 44 to 47. So you can see species distributed in island area, such as Polynesia, Fiji, or Mauritius in Indian Ocean, have more gillrakers than species in continental coasts. So, numerous gillrakers in insular species are thought to be the result of adaptations enabling efficient capture of the small-sized plankton dominant in such areas surrounded by oligotrophic waters. In Red Sea species also has slightly more gillrakers than other continental species. Because Red Sea is also known to be an oligotrophic water due to the lack of large inflow rivers. So oligotrophic water species are thought to have more gillrakers than species in nutrient-rich waters. Similar adaptations have been confirmed in other groups of Clupeiformes. Sulicina, another genus of anchovies, has same tendency of gillraker numbers and water nutrient condition. Species in Ireland and Red Sea have more gillrakers than species in Sunda Shelf. So Sunda Shelf species has 32 to 36, but in Fiji, Mauritius, or Red Sea has more gillrakers. Returning to taxonomic study of Storophorus, similar to the case of Storophorus indicus, much more cryptic species were found during my study. For example, species regarded as Storophorus white-eye, widely distributed in Indo-Pacific, was divided into 6 species. Interestingly, both of widely distributed and locally distributed species are coexist. True Storophorus white-eye is revealed as an endemic to Australia. Like this, number of species of Storophorus increased. Storophorus, previously regarded as comprising only 20 species. Now it includes 45 valid species. Storophorus has become the largest genus of the family Englaridae. Moreover, some more cryptic species are observed. Recently, I have expanded our research to other taxonomic groups. Similar to Storophorus, species number of Thricina, another genus of Englaridae, increased from 24 to 35. Genus Zusumiaria in Zusumieridae from 3 to 8 species. In genus Sardinella Dorsomatidae from 18 to 23 species. As a result, my study rate total species number of Clupeiformes from 400 to 450. This number is expected to increase further in the near future. There are many more discoveries, but now I would like to end this presentation here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hata, for the really interesting presentation and slides of the microscopic anchovies. I certainly learned a lot more about the anchovy, one of my favorite fish, this morning in the last half an hour. And yeah, we certainly find that there are a lot of at least taxonomic issues with regards to the nomenclature of the of members of Clupeiformes and this anchovies specifically. So if there's any question, please either write in the chat box or raise your virtual hand, and we will try to respond to your question. Okay, while waiting for question, I have question to us, Dr. Hata. So you mentioned that there's like up to 50 new additions. So these are 50 new species?
Not just new species. So there are many nominal species regarded as invalid, but so I found the validity of these nominal species. So just I described a new species about only 30 species. So about 20 species were discovered as its validation.
Yeah, okay, I see. So when a taxonomist do a revision like what Dr. Hata does with his Clupeiformes, you come across old documentation and some names which was maybe sunk by an author. He will resurrect or dig up the old names which was considered invalid before, so now it's valid. So that's what he's saying. So some unused name which is considered synonym or just simply invalid, with the examination of specimens, hundreds and thousands of specimens. So Dr. Hata is able to decide that these names are actually valid. Just with the probably presence of one or two minute, what was that you call the fins, that you can only view under the microscope. So yeah, I'd have to say that one have to be really patient when studying this kind of fish. All right. Thank you, Dr. Hata. Let's see if we have any question, any hands from the audience. Hang on a minute. So we have on Facebook or not? Oh, okay. So unfortunately, our Facebook broadcast didn't work, but we will be uploading a recording of this presentation, and of course you may post question there, and then in future we will try to respond to that. Okay, so I'd just like to inform that the fish that anchovies that the subject of the study of Dr. Hata is actually a very popular, very common, commercially important food fish here in Malaysia. In fact, certain species, I don't know what species, maybe Dr. Hata, when you come to study our specimens here, you can tell what species are they, whether they are actually the adult version or the juvenile of this bilis, of the anchovy. But these are some of the high valued fish resource. So when it's high value, just meaning that there's demand for it. So when there's demand, of course, we need to, as a scientist, fisheries managers, we need to put in the excuse me, management, proper management to ensure that the species is protected. Okay, and as we know that it's interesting that one species which which previously was thought to be widely distributed throughout the Indo-West Pacific, so we have now it's separated into up to 7 species. Some are old names which has been resurrected, and some are even undescribed species. So that's interesting work. If you're interested to work with Dr. Hata, for example, in future, I'm sure there will be opportunities. So just approach us. Okay, I see a blue dot on the chat box. Okay, just question. I think Dr. Hata, can you actually see? Okay. So what it says for just for the for those listening but do not have this waybacks, it says this is from Nasin Seth. Nasin Seth is actually my PhD student. She said, how do you confirm the cryptic species based on morphologically or with other method? Okay.
Yes, thank you for your question. And so I confirmed the new species, cryptic species, in both ways, morphological observation and genetic analysis. So, and so taxonomic studies start so both ways. So sometimes I found some morphological differences. So and I start genetic analysis. Now sometimes some collaborator genetic specialists found any genetic differences in some regionally or in some specimens. So I checked it's the more specimen in morphologically, and I confirmed many applicable names for each species. So both ways are quite useful, and we are using morphological observation and genetic analysis. Yes, both.
So I hope that answered the question. Okay, I'd like to actually not add to this comment, but just share that in Sabah, as in I think rest of a few other countries in Southeast Asia, there is a special gear actually to catch anchovies. So here in Sabah, it's called bagang. So what? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of it. Okay, we can Google it later. It's spelled B-A-G-A-N-G. So there's several bagangs on the east coast as well as west coast of Sabah, and that is where how the anchovies are captured. Okay, these are the small fishes, but the other members of the Clupeiformes, the bigger ones, these are caught by other commercial gears. So we have trawlers and purse seiners, and nearest to the university is we can visit the Safma fish landing port, where they have fish landed throughout the day at the port. Okay, no more questions. And Nasihin Seth confirmed that you have answered her question. Let's see. So just a note of in case there's anyone in the audience who is interested to study fish. Yes, there's lots of opportunities to study fish taxonomy. We always have issues, and actually science doesn't stop with one species being identified. So in future, with maybe more greater or detailed combination of approaches that can be used to study the fishes, we'll be able to identify species more quickly and more accurately. And if there's no more question, I think I'll just like to wrap the session. So what we do is invite attendees to actually start your video, and we will take a screenshot of the with the presenter. So can you please start your video? And Flora is actually sitting next to me. Print screen, right? Yeah. Okay. Nasihin Seth, you can share your video. Viviani is as well. Okay, yeah. So Viviani is yes, our student. Okay, our postgrad student probably. Midon. So Midon will probably meet you at the ni Midon. Pakai mask lagi. Nggak payahlah mask kejap. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to count on the count of 3. 1. Oh, maybe actually Ayumi-san, who is wife of Dr. Hata, is here. So we'll just invite her to be on the screen as well. There we go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Great. Okay, so thank you everyone for your attendance. Get in touch with me, or Dr. Hata will be sharing his contacts later on. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just going to leave me